Unless you are in the business of buying and selling businesses on a frequent basis, selling your business can be an extremely overwhelming and incredibly daunting task. This is one of those things that you absolutely do not want to go about on your own. You don't want to do it alone. You need people in your corner who essentially have gone through the process of selling or have helped many, many others do the same thing. You want people with experience. You want people who have actually done it, seen it, can direct you on what to do, what not to do, can show you some of the biggest mistakes that are made over the course of the sale, can help you essentially avoid those mistakes so that you're not reinventing the wheel with your particular transaction. So I'm Brittany Anderson, president and partner at Sweet Financial Partners. And over the years, we have had the great fortune to work with a lot of business owners. And typically when we encounter them and engage with them, it's either post liquidity event or it's at a time where they're thinking really seriously about the sale. They're really looking heavily at how they can do this to maximize their return on that sale, to create less headaches or the least amount of headaches as possible, and to really make sure that they're leaning on the people in their lives that can help direct them and give them good advice that's in their best interest. So we have seen over the course of time, essentially three big mistakes that people make. So before I get into that, imagine that you are at that point of sale and, you're feeling pretty good. Let's just say that you got a seven-figure deal and you're feeling really confident about it. You go through with the sale, the transaction happens, and you find out, say 6 months down the road, that if you would have made just a couple small tweaks, you could have potentially turned that seven-figure sale into an eight-figure sale. Or maybe with a couple additional tweaks, you could potentially turn that seven-figure sale into a nine-figure sale. So imagine how that would feel at that moment, knowing had you had the right people in your corner, you could have potentially maximized the potential of your sale. So, three biggest mistakes that we've seen people make when it comes time to make that big life-changing decision on selling the business. Number one is kind of an obvious, some would think, but unfortunately, not everybody takes advantage. And it's really putting the right team around you and a collaborative team at that. There's nothing worse than having, say, your wealth advisor, your CPA, and your attorney all helping you, but not communicating properly with each other. So making sure that you are bringing together people that can actually not only share their expertise in their field, but are used to and accustomed to working with other professionals in that regard to really help you have a great experience with the sale, to hopefully minimize as many headaches as possible, to maximize your value at sale, and to also potentially take care of, the team that you may be, leaving with the company, to make sure your people feel seen and heard, to make sure that your customer or client base is taken care of. There's so many different facets and things to think about. You want to make sure that you're rallying the right people behind you. Sometimes what we've seen happen is, you might have a wealth advisor you've worked with for many, many years, and they're great people and they've been great along the way, but they have zero skill or zero experience when it comes to an actual business sale. So at that time, you may want to look at bringing in another party that actually has had that experience that can help you along the way. Again, the whole goal of this is just to make sure that you're taken care of in this and that you are making the best of this transaction, because again, this can be scary, it can be daunting, and it can feel really overwhelming. Those pain points are lessened when you have the right people in your corner. And this really spins into the second mistake that we've seen business owners make at point of sale. And that is not taking the time before they go into the transaction to actually connect with a person who could potentially help you maximize your value. Now, this isn't just a consultant type role. There are actually people out there who have entire businesses built around helping people like you, helping a business owner to maximize their value at the point of sale, at the time of sale. So this is something that you might want to go through, because what they'll often do is a bird's eye view peel back on things that you can do within the company to really help you maximize that point of sale. So even if, let's just say, it takes you 18 months instead of 10 months to go through the full process of selling, to position it, to find the right buyer, et cetera, and so forth. Let's just say that transaction takes a little bit longer, but you're, again, thinking back to the earlier example, able to go from a 7-figure sale up to an 8 or a 9. Well, that's time well spent, time well invested. And again, think about the opportunities that then opens up for you going down the road. So now all of a sudden, not only have you had a lucrative opportunity here, it's turned ultra lucrative, which can then obviously have the waterfall effect of helping you focus on the next kind of areas of your life. So making sure that you are put in touch with or sourcing out the people that actually do that on the day-to-day basis, the people that have the formula, that have helped, hundreds, if not thousands of people sell their business in the past to truly maximize that sale. There's one thing that we've seen too, where, selling the business can be a very emotional thing, just to put it bluntly. It can be a very emotional transaction, and it can be really difficult because, and this will bring us into our third point or third mistake that we see people make, but your entire identity can be tied to your business. So when you're making decisions around that sale, let's say you find a buyer and you really like them and you're like, gosh, I just want to make this work. So you maybe, downgrade the value, or, you make decisions that are maybe clouded because of that emotional tie. So you really want to make sure that you are leaning on people who can help you have an incredibly objective approach, so that you aren't making emotion-based decisions when it comes to this transaction, or when it comes to this major life transition, which is really what it boils down to. So the third and final mistake that we see most commonly made is that, business owners may go through the process of, yes, I've rallied a team around me. I have the professionals. I've done the work to, maximize the value of sale, to maximize the value, the return that I'll get. But the one area that they often don't spend enough, if any, time on at all is understanding what they're going to. Now, what you may think is, well, you're all of a sudden you have total financial freedom, freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of where your energy and your attention is spent. The problem is that a lot of times, if your entire life has been consumed by your business, you have woke up every day to, feed that business, to help it grow. It all of a sudden becomes like one of your children almost. It's one of those things where who you are becomes wrapped up in what you do. So now when that is cut off, when that no longer exists, when you're not waking up every day to feed the business, to help it grow, to help it continue to mature, to, really foster that nurturing capability, that nurturing, that keep growing your team, growing your client or customer base, creating a new product or service offering under your business model. When that no longer exists, the biggest or saddest thing that we see people go through is this massive loss of identity, this kind of crisis per se, where they're going, oh my gosh, who am I without that? People aren't picking up the phone when I call anymore. I used to be somebody of importance, somebody that had some sort of status or significance or whatever that looks like to you. So it's this redefining of what success looks like and getting crystal clear on how you're going to spend your time and where you're going to put that energy. This is why traditionally business owners don't truly go by the normal, I guess, definition of retirement. It's not, okay, well, I was working yesterday and now tomorrow I'm not going to work anymore. And it's not just, hey, I'm going to go spend time on the golf course, or I'm going to travel more. There's something else that's needed to be filled. And unfortunately, not enough time and energy is spent really getting to the core of what that looks like for you. So this is something that's massively important, is understanding what is the work that you want to put into the world? What is the impact that you want to continue to make? Maybe it's not in the traditional business sense, but maybe there are philanthropic things that you want to do. Maybe there is quality time with family or friends that you want to make sure that you maximize because you haven't maybe had or allocated the time over the years up to this point. So those things are all good to pinpoint now, but also getting crystal clear on what your purpose is going to be next. Understanding the legacy that you want to leave and the experiences that you want to have, and then really backing into what are some of the core foundational things that you need in your life to help you live fulfilled into the future, to help you really overcome maybe a little bit of that loss of identity. Now is the time to focus on your health, on, making sure that you're taking care of you, because as we all know, life gets busy, especially in the midst of owning a business and trying to juggle that and maybe family or other commitments. So you really want to make sure that you're going into this next phase, this next transition with a clearly defined path, with one that you're excited about, with one that you're energized about, so that you can truly create that fulfillment that can sometimes be lost without that business. So if you are looking for more insights and tips on how to, lean into creating that optimized future for yourself, to create that fulfillment, to align the right people around you to make great decisions, be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, jump on over to any of the major podcast platforms and subscribe, like, and rate the Dream Architect Life podcast, which is on, again, all major platforms. This is where you'll get the biggest insights. This is where you'll continue to get fed the same type of information. We hope you join us on the journey.